I'm at SLAV.
All right, this is Shit Spouter 37.
This is the Black.com build.
This is the Fed Post.
How we doing?
Good. We just ate a bunch of Culvers, and I feel like I'm in a food coma, and CRK is hungover, so we're all basically on the same wavelength.
Yes. Food coma. CRK is complete. What is your ailment, COH? What's your ailment today?
Gin drunk. I've been watching a lot of the Masters golf tournament. I've been having a great weekend.
You sound like the coolest old lady. G&Ts with the bridge girls getting based.
Seriously. Yeah, I've been drinking gin and tea, and lemonade too.
That sounds awesome.
The Arnie Palmy.
Bridge, cutting coupons. I feel it.
Yeah, well, I am fucking malnourished and overcaffeinated today, so let's go. A particularly haggard episode of the Fed Post. I like it.
It's like the Oregon Trail.
Yeah, I might. There's a reasonable chance I might die of dysentery halfway through this.
Yeah, at some point in time, we're gonna turn on each other. Have to eat one of us.
COH's computer will have dysentery.
It actually might. It legitimately might combust someday. I know that CRK was just joking earlier, but it overheats all the time. Like where you can feel it, and it feels like you could cook eggs on it or something.
Yep, just got back from getting lunch with a bud, and I never even ended up getting lunch because we ended up just talking so much. But
that sounds wholesome.
Yeah. It was mainly him talking. It was like I think it's like a particularly isolated friend of mine, and so halfway, those like interactions, especially these days, like those interactions where you kind of like you get like 20 minutes in, you're like, I have not been able to get a word in edgewise, but I think that this is probably just like a good thing for this person. So
they were craving human interaction. My friend was like that because she lived by herself and was like almost shaking when she finally like left her apartment and we went for a walk.
I'm literally shaking. Triggered.
Yeah, so that kind of deal. So
I was talking to this girl on the airplane when I flew back home a few weeks ago, and she was saying that she hadn't left her apartment until like 2 weeks ago for a year and a half. And I was like holding in a year fucking sick. But
well, I mean, that wasn't literal though, was it? It was like
no, I think she was saying she ordered like off Instacart to get all of her groceries. I'm sure she like left her house to like if she had to go to the post office or like pick up maybe a prescription or something. But she was like saying she hadn't actually even left to go get food or anything.
Have any of us here gotten to the level of having groceries delivered during COVID times yet? Because I have not.
I've delivered groceries for people.
It really sounds like neat excellence and something I aspire to, but no, I have not.
Yeah, I mean, like it's literally all of my neighbors are doing the. I mean, I literally like went down. I went to my neighbor's front door to like ask them for something yesterday, and then like our conversation was interrupted by their grocery delivery. Yeah, I don't know. I just had my roommate move out. And like he was basically getting food delivered every meal type deal.
Yeah, I'm too broke to do that shit, man. I can't afford like an additional $20 every meal for delivery fee and tip every time. That's absurd. Like beyond the fact of like I just like to cook my own meals.
Right.
That's some serious Bugman shit. That's a sign of sickness.
Yeah,
you're better off without them.
Yeah, the slim chance that people I know in real life might be listening to this, I will not comment too much, but it is something that I don't. It is something I don't want for myself. I will certainly say that much.
Not for me. I would say there's nothing wrong with it, but I don't even believe that actually.
Can't be healthy though either. Like to eat out for every meal, like your guts would be rotting.
Well, and psychologically too, like you're so far removed from the production of that food. Like you're not even interacting with anyone at the store to like understand what's going into the food that you're eating, or like going to the restaurant to see the people that are making the food or anything like that. You're just having a box dropped off to your door. Like that's fucking batshit crazy. And it's not good for you. Like psychologically, it can't be.
Nicoke and I were staying in an Airbnb for a month.
Oh God,
we did not
terrible.
have access. We did not have access to a functional kitchen. So by the end of that, of just, eating nothing except takeout from Grubhub or whatever, I began to feel like E.T. in the last quarter of the film. When he was separated from Elliot, like I could just feel my body rotting away.
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was working overnight as a security guard too, because I got laid off for like COVID reasons. And that was like my like temporary job. So I was nocturnal and eating bullshit. And I felt like it was an out of body experience.
Dude, we're literally, I feel like our society is operating under the assumption that like we're going to ascend from our physical forms like any day now, but that isn't going to happen. And so
the simulation will start, and we'll just get to choose like our own surrogate, and we'll just lay in the pod, and you can be whatever, and you can like escape into the cyber reality, bro.
Right. Yeah. I like it's been probably it's probably been about a month since I got delivery. But I do know like, it's one of those things, dude. Like it's just better if you just don't open the door because it's a little too easy, right? It's a little too easy. And then like, I mean, to be totally honest, like I live with my girlfriend, right? And she will go and, cause it just works with like her commute or what. I need to be careful what I say because she might flip me some shit here. But like there are times where she does the vast majority of grocery shopping, and there's been a couple times in lockdown where like I've talked to her and just been like, I'm straight up like an agoraphobe right now. Like it's been so long since I've done grocery shopping consistently that like I will struggle with that. And then once you're at that point, I mean, it's exponentially harder to get out of that.
Well, then you can pull up your Instacart history. You can pick your reorder favorites. You didn't even think about it, bro. Just reorder the same order as last time and keep it rolling.
You don't even need to go through the process of doing the online order for that tiny window of a moment of self-reflection. You can you could just skip past the whole thing altogether and just order from like you could order off of what's it called, Go Fresh or whatever, where they just send like the personal ingredients for one meal to your home, and you can tell you step-by-step instructions. Dude, I'll do you one better. You can just cut the whole thing out. You just fucking kill yourself.
Yeah.
But the grocery store is like kind of awkward for someone who's been locked up for a long time because it's like hospital lighting. You feel kind of exposed. And now there's like these like one lane only aisles. Like they're like, you can only go this way. And everybody's like, okay, I'm not trying to body shame, but everybody's so fucking fat right now that I felt like I was like humans from WALL-E trying to get over like around this lady's like fat ass. It was taking up the whole grocery store aisle while like terrible music from Clear Channel's playing, and I felt like I just wanted to die. Like it was terrible.
It's horrifying. It's actually horrifying. And like I feel like I think that like COVID policy can also kind of just like create this extra layer of like making places you've gone to your entire life just suddenly unfamiliar. And like that added on to it. It's just, I don't know. It's bleak.
It reminds me of like Risk Cutters, a love story, like a movie I watched like in high school, like of like people that kill themselves, like get sent to another realm, but it's just slightly gray and shittier, just slightly. So it's like that, like everything is just a little bit worse. Like the Culvers we went to today, it was like the condiments were everywhere. Like everywhere is just like trying to hire people, but no one wants to work at like shitty fast food because they make more money on unemployment. So everything just seems like progressively shittier, but like somehow the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I would argue though that like it's necessary to go out and interact with that, because that's like interacting with the real that's around you, because shit is miserable and shit does suck. And like, you should like, it's miserable going to the grocery store because it's just like a huge vat of human excess and like consumerism. But like, that's the entire reality that we live in. So it's much healthier to go out and interact with something like that and interface with like the horrible nature of it than just like, oh, well, I can just press a button on my phone now and now I can order this to my door.
Oh yeah, totally.
No doubt.
Like, especially with how the media is just twisting everything, like people just being like hermetically sealed in their little cells. Like the only like window to the outside world these people have sometimes is like the fucking news they watch. And that is terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's just like your daily session of just being reminded that you need to be in an absolute state of constant terror. But in a way that like has absolutely nothing to do with like the terror and misery that you should be paying attention to, which is just like the crippling alienation that makes it so that just like even going to the fucking grocery store is just like bizarre. It's like the news wants you to focus on like convincing yourself of the delusion that like you're going to be attacked by the KKK on your way from the car to the fucking to the grocery store or something, right? It's a fucking clown show. It's a joke. But yeah, let's talk about how J.K. Rowling is doing a no growth so that we don't need to pay attention to the fact that your own neighborhood is a place you don't even fucking feel welcome in anymore. Yeah, I'm gonna make myself angry just talking about it. I'm like feeling worse. Maybe
We
that's
all
good.
should be angry that the sense of community is holding around us. I mean, you should be infuriated. You should be screaming.
Yeah, absolutely. Like back to COH's point. Gmork, do you mind? Is there any way that you could turn your volume up just a tiny bit?
I'm gonna give it a shot.
Oh, I can turn them up too.
Yeah. Well, it'll just be relevant to me because I'm doing the in.
But I can also turn them up for my personal volume. I can hear them a little louder too. I didn't know that was.
Well,
a thing.
I don't really give a fuck about your functionality.
All right, thanks.
Honestly, it might be kind of a fun avant-garde thing to just have it be you can't hear anyone.
Yeah, totally.
And you're just kind of talking about random shit. Everyone, like we're talking about a movie, and you're like, oh well, Lenin actually clearly outlined.
Okay. Whatever. Shots fired a little bit.
Testicles.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
He just has a graham crackery voice.
I love
When
it.
do I not?
You just sound like a college professor. That's what I thought when I first heard your voice. You're teaching me that.
I take offense to that. So
You have a bit of like a math department voice. I will say that for sure. Which is
just
a
my
lot.
autism seeping through.
That is a euphemism for saying that you have an autistic voice. It could be worse. You could have a humanities department.
Oh God!
That's what CRK just said in the chat. Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Please
Yeah,
save
dude.
me from being perceived as a theater kid.
Oh my god! I feel like CRK is being such a voyeur right now. He's just like commenting down here.
Yeah, he's masturbating furiously. We've been recording long enough. Me and him are just simultaneously coming up with the same shitty jokes across the country.
Oh gosh.
Surfing the same brainwaves, baby.
That's right. Surfing the web with my friends.
Oh my gosh.
Well, shit. I don't know. I mean, should we get serious, relatively so, and jump into? I didn't come up with any fucking questions. For just full disclosure.
Well, I think we could just like start by easing into what we were talking about before, just about how like communities generally corroded overall, just like under the conditions that we live under in late capitalism, but just like specifically now with COVID and after like isolations and lockdowns, I think that's kind of a good jumping off point to go into the rest of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's, it's not hard to find a discussion in any of our episodes that doesn't at least vaguely connect to that topic.
I know I saw, for instance, like Gmork. All right, first of all, how should I say your name, Gmork? Is it Gmork? Is it Gmork? Is it Mork? Like, what's going on here?
Gmork sounds like Miami's Most Wanted.
I figured it was Gmork.
Gmork is correct. How have none of you ever seen The Neverending Story? Come on.
I've seen The Neverending Story, but I guess I'm just spacing on that right now.
The disgusting wolf puppet. Come on.
I've seen the Neverending Story plenty of times. I guess there's just so much going on in that movie that it kind of washes over me.
I just remember like the darkness, the nothing. I mean, and then also like the flying guy, the dad that's like drinking eggs in his orange juice, telling this kid that you need to stay grounded.
Wait, you're saying the flying guy? Are you talking about Falcor?
Falcor. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get. I always remember that's first scene of that movie. You got a guy riding a snail, right? You got a giant mountable snail, I believe.
Something like that, probably. I don't know. Yeah. I actually watched that movie for the first time like a year ago. My parents never let me watch that as a kid. I guess they didn't support the message in it.
Yeah, Racing snail, certainly my brand.
Racing snail, also very obviously crypto satanic. So I don't blame your parents one iota.
To Moloch.
Yeah, no, exactly. I know what that means, and it is exactly that. Yeah.
But anyways, I saw that Gmork had a thread on Twitter talking about how basically like pick up a fucking wrench or like pick up a shovel or pick up something and do something in the real world. Do something that connects you to your labor, do something for your community. And so I kind of want to piggyback off that and just kind of see like outline that a little bit more, kind of your feelings on that and this like alienation from the product of our labor thing that you've been poking around on.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head. We are alienated from the fruits of our labor. In order for us to reconnect with our community and within ourselves, we need to start actively engaging with what our society used to do. And what that is working with our hands and doing something that is constructive to not just ourselves, but the people around us. We work very sedentary post-industrial jobs at the moment. We don't ever see the outcome or the efforts of our labor come to fruition. It's extremely abstract. I think it's very important for personal health, emotional, mental, even physical, to do something with your hand, do something that's actually within the physical realm. And yeah, I guess you could say that is sort of the underlying current of everything I post online.
Yeah, that's something that I've actually picked up on and actually really personally resonated with like this past year, specifically during COVID. Like beforehand, I worked like various different service industry jobs or like hospitality type of jobs. And then I was like laid off after COVID. And I realized that like, my job was not an essential job. So like really it was basically nothing. Like if it's not essential to the like continuation of society and community to people around me, then really like what is that job? And then I was like had this kind of thing where I was like really kind of searching, like understanding why is it that I go into work and do something where I'm just looking at a computer that feels not even close to natural, or like I feel almost like I can feel my soul being sucked out through my eyeballs into the screen every single minute I look at it. And so I just like went out and just like started trying to dig in some dirt and just like make something you can see with your hands. And like I realized an immediate reconnection almost to like not only just like the reality around me, but also the people around me, because you have to interface with the community around you when you're doing stuff in real time and when you're having some sort of real effect on the material nature of the reality around you.
And the benefit can be immediate, unlike with most post-industrial positions. When we look at white-collar positions, you know, a lot of the time there really isn't any actual product, especially in things like the tech industry, where there never will be anything that comes to fruition. It's just people meaninglessly and purposelessly toiling away in front of a screen for a product that's never released. And that's the reality for a lot of Americans. Now, if you're working with your hands, if you're building something, that's something that your neighbors can appreciate. It's something that can immediately help someone next to you or around you. And if we can get more people doing that as a hobby, then perhaps we can have a little bit of an antidote to the ocean that is all encompassing, surrounding us all the time.
Because that's like also something like Gmork talks about that I've always really liked is that like institutional knowledge is slipping away too. Like when you're not practicing these trades or building these things that last, like we're forgetting how to make things. Like we don't have industrial capacity in our country anymore. Like it's almost sometimes impossible to reverse engineer some of these things.
It's something certainly affecting the Department of Defense. Right now, they're hiring people to reverse engineer the F-22 because we forgot how to construct it. That's kind of incredible, if you ask me. That's some late-stage empire shit.
Totally. That's unbelievable. That reminds me of like a joke that I'm going to do a normally thing here and reference Joe Rogan. But Joe Rogan had a stand-up special like 2012 or something where he makes a joke about how he thinks that it's possible that past civilizations were actually more advanced than we are now. They just hit a point where somehow all the smart people died off that know how to actually do the thing. And you're just left with a bunch of people that don't know how to actually build the product or make the thing, just using the thing. And they're just trying to explain like, oh yeah, that big pyramid was actually just a tomb. When really like it was an energy conductor or whatever. But it reminds me of that. It's like late stage empire shit, like the crumbling.
That's literally what happened with cement, right? Cement or concrete. It was like lost for a very long time.
Concrete,
yeah. I mean, you cut out there for a sec. What were we saying?
Oh, I do apologize.
That's what
we can make concrete similar to how the Romans. It's just very late. We lost that technology for 2,000 years, roughly.
I feel like a lot of people think that like a march towards progress includes like eliminating labor type jobs, like physical labor type of jobs for some reason. And so it's kind of seemed like, oh, well, you don't want to go back to like, you know, everyone making things. Why would we want to return back in time? And you also get people like, I would do a little bit of a devil's advocate thing here and say like, not everyone can go out and build something with their hands, right? Like if you live in like the middle of Brooklyn, you don't have like a work shed or a backyard to like do something in, or like, you know, it's harder to go out and do these types of tasks. And especially if you're a working class person who already has a job where you're, you know, at working fast food or something, pressing numbers on the screen and you're getting a paycheck. I mean, even though you're not going to be satisfied with that work at the end of the day, you're just doing it so that you can exist and live. How is someone meant to make that switch over in that scenario? Or is it that you think that people who have the ability to do so should try to just to kind of try to hold that out as a current?
I think everyone has the capacity. Someone who is inside of a studio department in Brooklyn, they can just as easily pick up a piece of paper and a pencil and begin drawing as someone who's in a rural area could, you know, begin building shit with their hands. We all have tools at our disposal to allow us to express our desire to create, which is innate in all of us. And we need to start tapping into that. We need to begin doing it. It really doesn't matter the medium in which you create. As long as you're doing the action, you will get the reward.
So you'd argue also like art, creation of art to a degree, physical media and physical art would be doing that same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that I would say art is one of the last like forms where we like one of the last popular forms that we still like elevate that. Right. Like I think it's still very much like a common value for people to encourage others to like create art and things like that.
But I do get what like COH is getting at, and that like cottagecore is kind of bougie. Like, oh, look at these YouTube videos of these kids who are probably like born to rich parents that like just bought a cottage out in this beautiful, like natural environment. And look at them making bread and wearing Amish clothes. You know, like most people can't like quit their job and go out there and do that, you know?
But all of us know that's completely artificial. They hired little people to do all of that, make all the bread, build the tiny house. It's not real.
Like it's pretty silly to me, but it's like all of these things are so superficial but they do have a root in something. Like, you have to wonder, like, why the hell are all these like cottagecore like YouTube videos like popping up? Because people do have like a yearning for like not having like cheap IKEA furniture and living in the studio apartment and watching like 10 hours of Gossip Girl or whatever. I'm aging myself a little bit saying that, but like it's pretty terrible life, you know?
I think it's like a deep biological response. Like, I think that we've advanced to a point technologically way beyond where we should be biologically, and we don't really have a great way to respond to that. And you have most people that are just telling you you can't do anything about it. You should just embrace it. Fuck it. We'll just see where it goes. And those people are going to be like your quote unquote progressives a lot of times in like these giant tech cities and shit, where it's like, whatever, man, like the Bugman life is great, actually. And it's like you kind of run into that where it's like people are rushing into something where they don't even know where it could be going. And then they look back to you and act like you're crazy, or like, it's almost like feels like a sense of like, I know Marty talked about this on an episode a few back, but kind of like cultural Maoism kind of thing, like a destruction of the old, like completely. And I know that there's always a tendency in new generations and like quote unquote revolutionary thought to, you know, destroy the old ways and go forward from there. But I feel like there's sometimes utility in understanding that new grows out of the old. So a lot of times it comes from preserving the things that work and trying to sprout something out of there.
Yeah, and it's been corporatized too. Like,
that's exactly it. It's forcing us into economic servitude. It's a return to the company store. We are completely reliant on these services which these corporations provide us, and they fill every aspect of life and things that we used to do as individuals. You were just talking about DoorDash and delivery. I mean, look at that. Even something as simple as cooking a meal has been replaced by subscription service. And I think that the only way we can actually fight, this corporate growth that does exist is to return to doing these very simple tasks on our own. And like I said, it can be the creation of art. It can be cooking. It can be things that you can do inside of a studio apartment. You don't necessarily need to have a rural compound to do any of this.
Not like a return to nature, but just a return to the real. Like a return to what you can physically fucking touch and do around you.
Gmork sounds Ted Kaczynski pilled, man. He's got a shirt. And
he totally is. He sent me a teddy bear. There was like a bear that looked like Ted Kaczynski when we first started dating.
Hey.
I tried to offer some pushback on it for you and your PMC buddies up in Brooklyn.
Thank you. We don't have a voice, and
oh my God.
Yeah, for the folks at home, we got a CRK calling in from his toilet bowl right now.
Oh, this is fucking the fucking dickheads in the Discord are gonna think I did coke again. I didn't do any fucking coke. All right, regular normal hangover.
Let's get real.
Outside of Brooklyn, who doesn't podcast, might also get. That's what it is.
Nothing wrong with a little booger sugar.
I don't want to know what that means.
Cocaine, buddy.
We do need to like push back on this like corporatization, because not only are like corporations, we're trying to be forced to like accept that they're people now with Citizens United, but also like our behavior has been corporatized, and eventually we're going to all look like the fucking Hills Have Thighs dude in the wheelchair with that giant brain hanging off the back of it. And like we're just gonna be pay pigs, like being like financially dominated by Amazon. It's gonna be gross.
Yeah, it's basically going to be that, except it'll be like my son in the wheelchair with big fat man titties hanging off because he drank too many IPAs or something. Yeah, there'll be a Funko Pop of him to commemorate him at his headstone. Yeah, I don't know. I think like a big thing about this also, and like I think one of like the nihilism of capital. We have nothing as our guiding light for just kind of informing where we ought to go as we take steps forward. And I think that one of the big issues I see with the Bugman future and the becoming more and more just disconnected from just your own like nature as a physical life form, it is just like the concept of the blank slate, right? Like just the idea of like, you know, not really factoring in any kind of like inherent human nature and just kind of looking at people as like a set of Lego blocks that you can basically just like assemble any which way. And there's infinite possibilities and you don't need to factor in any kind of base nature into that.
It's easy to market to those people. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll honestly kind of give kind of a Bugman example, which is that I like to play a lot of like tabletop games, right? Like Dungeons and Dragons. And I am currently, out of everybody I know, the only person who's still literally just fucking playing with my boys at my house physically. Everyone else is doing this fucking like remote video chat stuff, right? And at that point, I literally don't know why you wouldn't just play a fucking video game, because it would probably work better. But it's just the whole idea of like, no, like I'm flipping through, sheets of paper, and it's a mess, and it's not efficient at all for actually playing the game. But like just having the bare minimum critical thinking to realize that like it's not about the game. It's about the fact that being here in a room with your friends is good for you. And that's something that you shouldn't just completely take out of this hobby. But again, like just looking around, and that's not bared out in just how I see other people choosing to, interface with the hobby.
It's hard though. Like let's say like you meet people online that you really like, and like you live in different parts of the country. Like Gmork and I play D&D with Hobbs and Mouse Ghost, because they're in different parts of the country. You
sons of bitches didn't even invite me. All right. I see how it is. I talked to Hobbs and he's like, "Oh, I'm playing D&D." I'm like, "Oh, that's fun." All right, that's fun.
The Cubians are turning on each other.
Yeah, no, this is ridiculous. You guys are. You're all fucking naturally cunning and deceptive. This is bullshit.
This is the first time I've ever played D&D, and of course it's a sausage fest. And like, it's fun.
Get used to it.
Because I was just like, I always like kind of talk trash on it, because like how everybody like builds up their own lore around them, especially like internet personalities. And I'm like, why do I want to like spend my leisure time like fantasizing, instead of just like, trying to make my life better materially. But then I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun, because then it like is a nice way to schedule like keeping in touch with people too.
Hell yeah. Okay, all right, to answer your question, COH, he's in the chat here saying he doesn't know what D&D is.
I didn't want to like cause the whole thing.
I can describe D&D for you. It's poker for nerds. That's basically what it is. Okay, you gather around, you get high, you eat some shitty food.
Is there money involved?
Yes. Lots of money to Wizards of Coast. Lots and lots of money.
No.
Yeah. It's like $60 a book. There's definitely money involved.
No, there are people who are deep in debt with bookies, who are trying to flee the country because they're really in debt to bookies for D&D. It's very serious. To their
dungeon master?
Yeah, it's fucked up. It's a big problem.
I can respect that, actually, then.
I'm joking. No, nobody owes anybody money.
I mean, to be fair, I'm sure there's some fucking sickos out there extracting money out of it, but
hell yeah, why not?
I kind of describe it as being like a mix between like a CAD architectural program and like improv. And the people that focus more on the latter are the people you don't really want to hang out with.
Is there a board?
There can be. And then the people that focus a little bit more on just the like quantifiable, like we're doing a accountant simulator. Those are the people you want to be hanging out with a little bit more.
So you're saying autists? You'd rather hang out with autists than theater kids?
Well, to be honest, this is the case with all nerd cultures now, which is like there's like the Hollywood pedophile like new generation, and you just don't want to have anything to do with them. And then there's like the completely like antisocial kind of old guard that won't get you fired from your job and like actually earnestly care about the things that we're doing.
So what I'm understanding is that we could fix the left. If we taught Nathan J. Robinson how to min-max his halfling rogue, we could solve all of this.
You can't fix that boy.
No, he's unfixable.
Oh my God,
it's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a peacock.
Yeah.
Honestly, like just saying this out loud has made it so that like Current Affairs is gonna fucking come out with some fucking bullshit like D&D live stream, and I'll probably kill myself when I watch that.
Oh my God.
We'll get into reality. It's really all of our fault.
Yeah.
So it's like a strategy and campaign fantasy game. Do you create your own rules? Is that and you create your own storyline?
No, the idea is that the rules themselves are kind of static to give some like structure to it. Of course, you can be like as kind of loosey goosey with that stuff as you want. But yeah, and then you come, especially these days with like how like the modern version of the hobby is. It's like very like story focused and shit like that. It's a good time.
You've heard of Dungeons and Dragons, right?
I've heard of Dungeons and Dragons. I've only recently heard of it being referred to as D&D, like on the cool logo, like the cool slang.
There's nothing cool about it.
Yeah, the worst sickos. Yeah, absolutely.
So you kept slinging it out on some D&D?
Oh my God. No, but like I was pushing back against like nerd culture for the longest time because I'm basically just thinking, like for the longest time I was thinking that it was just like basically like fetishizing and romanticizing like automation, and like just having your entire personality around consuming and collecting these trinkets that are trash.
Yeah.
Like these
Funko
little
Pop.
like action figures and Funko Pops and stuff. And you almost seem like a troglodyte or like cave creature with all your little plastic things around you. And you're just going to like fossilize, and these things will be left in your cave with you, like that like Chinese emperor who made all those like statues.
Fossilized cum tissues. I mean, the thing is that that take on all of it is completely accurate, and so you don't need to adjust that at all. You really don't.
It creates like this inauthentic nerd that doesn't even actually care about the things that they care about at an obsession level that makes nerds cool. Like nerds are cool because like generally they're either like autists, they're smart, or they're like super obsessed about a couple of things that they know a shitload about and no one else deals with them because they're just always on that. And that's actually kind of cool. Like to an extent, like, all right, yeah, you're a wealth of knowledge on two things that other people might not know as much about. But now it's like, I'm a nerd because like that's my identity. So it means I watch Disney and buy Funko Pops. Like what?
No, and that's exactly why I was saying like you want to be with those CAD program autist people as opposed to
autists, not new autists.
As opposed to the fucking grown up theater kids.
Oh God.
It's like old poor and new poor from the Gatsby. You want to be hanging out with those old nerds. Old money and new money. I think of it on the other side.
I keep my tabletop sessions strictly East Egg.
Oh my God. But I miss that's one thing I miss is obviously like I used to get together with friends and play like Catan, and I'm like I don't give a fuck about Settlers of Catan, but it was just an excuse to like get people to like stick to plans and make snacks and look at the whites of their eyes, So I totally get it, but it's just also I feel like a lot of people are just like getting like more and more like turning into hermits. And it's hard, especially like not necessarily like I came from like a rural town. So my high school friends are like super based and kind of Republicans. And then when I went to college, all my friends from there, it's definitely like lib pandemic. Like all of them are afraid to like leave their house. So I just like, I'm trying my best to figure out how to get people just to like socialize again.
And dude, and that's the whole thing. I think that that example I gave of like, man, everyone else has gone remote with. Can you imagine that? Like going remote with your fucking tabletop hobby. Like it's a fucking work meeting. Like why
outsourcing social interaction through the screen?
Like what the fuck are you talking about? Like like have the self-awareness, right? Like, don't just be the rat in the maze. Like, have the self-awareness to realize, like, Catan, like you mentioned a second ago, right? Like, it's not really about the game. I mean, you can enjoy the game, but it's just a way of just like tricking baby into eating the medicine, right? Like, get your fucking retarded friends sitting around the fucking table, and we're gonna do something, right?
You guys remember the Zoom Thanksgiving and like Zoom?
Oh
all
my
that
fucking
shit.
god!
I mean, like, I was just last night. I was just at this like pool hall, and it's like really packed. Like, you know, I was just like, I walked in, you know, I'm conditioned now. Like, I don't, you know, you guys know I don't give a fuck about it, but like, I'm conditioned. I walk in, I'm like, holy shit, there's a lot of people here. I'm like, if I was someone who was concerned about it, I'd be tripping out probably right now. Yeah, but you know, it's just, I mean, other workarounds. I'm sure someone just be like, hey, why don't we play virtual pool, or why don't we just not have to worry about that and
if
all
you're
this
playing
shit.
Virtual pool, Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah, just anything like that, and yeah, you just realize like, oh no, this is way better. Like, just being there, and I don't even like you know doing too much, like going out that much or whatever. Like, but like, yeah, I mean, it's clearly better. I mean, you feel more like a person. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh, for
I'm gonna
sure.
do some
Like,
hippie white people shit right here real quick and say that there is also like an energy field that your body exudes. And when you're around other people, you interact with their energy field as well. And it helps to replenish yours.
That's right, King.
Like, it's nice to be around other people within 6 feet of you. And like, even if you're just looking at each other, hanging out at a Subway or whatever the fuck, it's nice to be around other people.
Yeah, open up somebody else's root chakra. Do that shit.
Yeah, I mean,
go out there, open it up.
This is a perfect time to announce that a perfect time to announce that starting next week the top patron tier is going to be eligible for a Reiki session with COH.
Guided meditations. I'll do some guided meditations.
Let's go.
Some fucking like David Lynch TM.
Yeah.
Why has meditation been trending
I actually
lately?
taught music meditation when I used to work at a spa to rich like yuppie people. I did like the singing bowls, and I did some shit like that, gongs and such.
I can see it, man. I can see it.
Meditation is actually fucking good and super cool, and I like that. But
yeah, as long as you don't get too far into it. Like, I think you need to like be able to get to a point where you can like meditate and understand how to control one's thoughts and like be in that state of mind and stuff, but without like being like, yeah, I can just like change my whole reality just inside my head. It's like, that's just not true.
Well, the other thing with
into the bug.
Yeah, the other thing about the Bugman mentality you guys are talking about is that you get very addictive, and like a lot of it is just like more of an. I mean, we're all naturally compulsive, and you know, even if you do things with your hands or outdoors, you'll definitely have a compulsion for that too. But the Bugman thing specifically is everything is gearing you to be an addict in some form or another, obviously. So like that meditative shit, or a lot of that is good to just you know, shake that habit, or just be able to exist for a second, like content without the need for another hankering of whatever. But
yeah, they're trying to create the most obsessive consumers as possible, because the most obsessive consumers want to buy the brand new product and the brand new thing and do the like, they're going to eat up whatever the fuck is like handed out without question.
No, I know now, like, you know, and obviously we're of the age where we started off without like phones being abundant or whatever. But like nowadays, like if I don't have my phone on me or I'm not on it, like I can feel myself like needing it. And it's just like, that's some twisted shit, man.
Yeah. You don't let yourself ever get bored?
No, I do. Well, I've always been like kind of like a little manic like that, and just kind of restless. So this is the perfect vehicle for that.
Because I've been catching myself, like, you know, when I'm doing like the laundry or cleaning or something, like I always have something on.
Same, yeah.
And I'm like trying to really like maybe every once in a while just have like quiet time so I can kind of like check in with myself.
That's
and
really
that sounds kind of like bullshit, but
no,
that's good.
I think a lot of times is like people are really lonely right now, and they like hearing, it's almost as if we're like in a nursing home and they turn on the Fox News or the MSNBC, whatever your flavor is, just to hear voices. Like, do you guys ever think about like there's so many people that just like have your voices on and they feel like this parasocial connection to you?
People are doing that right now, listening to this fucking pod.
It's like when I leave my cat because I go out on vacation and I turn on the TV on the Nature Channel for him.
Little chirping birds for your cat to stare at.
No, I mean, we're not around to hang out with him, so he needs somebody.
I realized just like walking around outside, just being like, damn, like for a moment of boredom without any stimulation, like if my phone's dead or whatever, like no music or whatever, I'm like, damn, I feel like fucking losing it right now. It's like, that's not fucking good. Like when I was a kid, I could just, that's part of life, is just plenty of idle moments. And like, yeah, I think that's a great strategy. It's like, you need to get back to like some void.
Love idle moments, bro. Grant Green fucking slaps. But also, I'm just never really bored. I just got too much shit going on in my brain. Like I'm just thinking about crazy shit all the time.
Just built different.
Well, I mean, for me, that's why I think like having some kind of like practice with meditation is so fucking helpful, right? It's just like, so I'm not just being like, I mean, like we kind of touched on like already, like, you know, I think we've all, like, I used to go to like meditation groups and shit. And like you meet these people, and I'm sure everyone knows what the fuck I'm talking about, but these people that like take something, like meditation, drum circle shit, and like you take something that's like, you know, for your own well-being, and you like invest so much into it that it becomes like your main explanation for the world around you as well. And like, it was never and it was never like intended to be that, right? I mean, it's lib shit. It's just lib shit, right?
It's just another identifier, another way to like shape your personality around this thing. And now I'm this one thing. I'm a yogi person or whatever the hell, you know?
Yeah. And I wanted to ask Gmork about this too, because it's sort of like that, the embrace the nothing thing that Gmork has in his bio and all that. Like, it's something I've been thinking about too, is like how people sort of like rush to ideology and have it consume their identity to fill that void, obviously. But like in my mind, like, you know, we've talked about it on the show plenty of times, but like, I don't feel like the elites have any ideology. I don't think they have it. I think it's for the plebs in their mind. So to me, it's like, it's troubling, like telling people like, all right, let go of that shit. Don't be so, you don't need it as much as you think you do. But then people feeling like, all right, well, if not that, then there's just the void. You know, I think there's like an emotional appeal that they know people want. They know they need that, especially as they make things more, you know, isolated and atomized. They know people will need that more and more. But how do you like balance it, telling someone, you know, not just be brainwashed? You know what I mean? Like not join this cult of ideology or whatever. You get what I mean? Is Gmork there?
Oh, I'm totally here.
Oh,
no, we are all certainly brainwashed. We are all stuck inside of this awful paradigm where we consume all of this brain damaging, infecting media. And ideology does surround us constantly. I think the elites do have ideology. I think that Chicago school economic policy dominates everything in every aspect of our lives.
There it is.
And marketization of pretty much everything. And this goes back to our conversation about services. Is just omnipresent, and there's no way to escape it. So when I say embrace the nothing, I don't necessarily mean forgo all ideology. What I really mean is that this ideology, this current existence, this epoch in which we live in, is coming to an end. We can see the American empire crumbling. So rather than live in fear of that and double down on reforming it, just embrace it happening, because it's not necessarily a bad thing. What we can create after this moment can be something beautiful. It doesn't have to be something terrifying.
Gotcha.
And that's why we're trying to find land in the woods.
Hell yeah.
Right.
That's the fucking move. So, I mean, what do you think? I don't know. Forgive me if this is going to be kind of like a out there kind of question, but like if someone was to ask for any kind of advice on how to handle surfing the waves of the diminishing empire that is the US. I mean, what would you guys prescribe for that? I mean, what kind of advice would you give to someone who, you know, I mean, I look out to my social group of friends, and most people are still basically doing what I was terrified of during COVID. And I've done a good job of avoiding it, which is basically just having everything paused and waiting for things to go back to a state of balance. And you know, to the person who has kind of gotten on that same page as you of like, all right, shit is, you know, rotating out, we're going to something else. I mean, what kind of advice would you give that person?
Find your own contentment and happiness, because you're not going to find it externally, especially in media, especially in political media.
Yeah, grab onto like who and what you know is real and good and right, and then hold on fucking tight and dig your heels in.
And also, like, take advice more from people you love and respect and know, like, in real life, rather than media figures that you have like a parasocial like obsession with. Because I realized, like, I was a little snot-nosed kid when I graduated from college, and I was kind of like a lib. And I just was acting, and I'm ashamed of how I acted towards like my dad, who's like a union guy, but you know, like he voted for Trump, and I kind of, now I feel that way, but I was just like, how could you do that? You know? And then I came around and I'm just like, wow, I thought I knew everything. And I feel like when you get so like ideology poisoned into this like little microcosm, like you act like a insufferable know-it-all. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you should really just try to find those like human connections of people you respect and value those more than like people that you're like trying to emulate online.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like ideologies now, they come like so just like packaged and completely like, all right, this is the complete ideology. You must have all of this. And so as soon as you like latch onto one and make it your identity, you're like, oh, I've got everything figured out now, actually, because I've got this one thing in my back pocket. And it's like people just really cling on to that and think that like they've got everything figured out when there's just like changing conditions in front of us all the time. And you may not know exactly what's going on. And like I can do like a classic boomer thing. Like you don't know what's going on in someone else's life or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But you don't always know exactly the right thing to say, and it's okay to be that way and not have to like immediately look for someone else's opinion that has your same ideology that you can mimic. Like you can take a second and be unsure for a little while
and also embrace uncertainty.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, that's the big one. I mean, that's the kind of the first thing that comes to mind when I start to wonder like why these kind of prepackaged ideologies that, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I just look around to the people I know in real life and just like a lot of the values of people around me seem to just have, you know, drastically changed seemingly overnight. Mm-hmm. And I think that a big part of that comes from uncertainty, because I think that there is just like this really big question mark. And I think that what's that?
The God hole.
Yeah,
these ideologies fill the God hole.
And well, I think at any normal moment that would be the case. I think that I think it's even more immediate than that though, right? And I think it's like contingent on this particular moment of like great change. And I think that it's a totally honest reflex by people, because uncertainty is a risk factor. And I think that people are wired to want to avoid uncertainty because they want to limit risk. Right. And I think that you gotta fucking work on that, because if you don't do that, you're going to be led around by the nose by some fucking multinational corporation, or worse yet, some fucking septum ring wearing blue hair psycho
who works
bitch.
for McKinsey.
That lives nothing like your life. And yeah, it really is prepackaged. Like you'll just see like here's your Akab in bio, here's your Venmo in bio, your hammer sickle emoji.
The internet communists are basically like MySpace emo kids from the early 2000s.
Right. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And like, I get it that, you know, everyone's trying to find their thing, but it like makes me sick that people are taking this ideology so seriously and are like canceling their family like on Facebook. And it's just like, I'm not talking to my dad anymore because he voted for Trump or something. You know, it's just like, that really makes me nervous, because these people are getting more and more isolated, and I feel like they're just going to be miserable.
I want to back up a moment, because we kind of touched on something that's very important, and that's mitigating risk. That is essentially what the elites are counting on. is everyone being so averse to risk that they're willing to partake inside of these incredibly exploitative systems that they have created for us. I constantly am harping on services, but services are something that represents like this in its most naked and like obviously blatant state. It is because it is something that's going to charge you more money than if you were to do this yourself. But the idea behind that is the risks are eliminated by having someone render this labor for you. But that also robs you of something that is incredibly important, especially as the empire begins to decay, and that's independence and the ability to do that yourself. Now, Nicoke mentioned before that we're forgetting how to do labor, how we're forgetting how to build things, we're forgetting how to be a functional society, but this can invade your personal life as well. If people forget how to cook meals, people forget how to, repair their clothes. If the United States economy were to collapse, what would those people's lives look like?
They'd be screwed. They'd die with the first round of designer dogs.
But
also like talking about like
designer Bugman.
Yeah, shit. But talking about like prepackaged goods, and you forget how to make your own food. Your people are forgetting how to make their own thoughts. Like they're just prepackaging these takes from Chapo cucks and like fucking like.
No, that's a great point.
Regurgitating it, and I think that also it comes from like the fear of risk, but an added fear of humiliation for saying the wrong thing, because you are so just like on all sides, like just being pressured to say the right thing at all times. And I found this. I don't even use Facebook anymore because it was like there are so many social circles that were like interconnecting. Like I have work people on there, I have family on there. I have people I went to high school with like 10 years ago on there. And it's just like, how do I say the thing that like, I'm not going to be ostracized from any of those groups? And that's why I have an anonymous Twitter account. And I never used it until the fucking COVID happened. But it was like, I needed someplace to vent.
I'm like so glad you said that, because I've said this plenty of times in the past and everything, but I think one of the biggest, it's obviously like a disciplinary device, but honestly, just one of the biggest things in general about the Chaposphere in particular, but just the online left generally is like more than anything, they're concerned with like enforcing rules around what is like an embarrassing cliche, or like what's gauche, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's the worst. Yeah, no, exactly. Like if you say like, oh my God, like you go talk to some Chapo fag at a bar or something, the first fucking thing you're gonna hear if you say something like we'll say you say that you kind of like Tucker Carlson or something, right? It's not the like, oh my gosh, like I disagree with this person on these things, or honestly even they probably won't come at you immediately with the like, oh my God, he's a fucking white supremacist. They're going to roll their eyes and scoff at you because like, I can't believe that you have the same taste in content as my boomer parents. My God, you fucking pedestrian. It's like it's so obviously empty.
Or Joe Rogan, who I love because I watch him with my dad when we're working in the yard.
Yeah, Joe Rogan is extremely gauche. Yeah, that's not the case. Yeah. Well,
and in that way, Joe Rogan's like the best litmus test because you want to be spending time with people that like Joe Rogan over the people that think that Virgil Texas and whatever the fuck the rest of their fucking retards names are. Are cool and have a good sense of humor.
That's nightmarish if you think Virgil is cool. That's wild. But yeah, the other thing too is just that these people, like, there's this, as far as the uncertainty thing, like these guys, the take makers, not just them, like everybody who's like a big, famous person in political media or whatever, they are not allowed to be unsure. They have to tell you what's going on. Something new happens, something crazy, unexpected. they have to act like they knew it was coming all along, or that they
well, yeah, I mean, I'm outsourcing my thinking to these people, so they better have fucking good delivery time, like my Somalian Uber Eats driver.
It's so wild though. Like people just turn to them immediately, like, tell me what to think right now. What's going on? I don't know what's going on.
They better pin their predictions on their profile.
All right. Well, it's different when I do it. When I do it, I'm actually right though. That's different. But like, it's not even about that. It's just that it's just complete certainty, and it's obviously it's a consumer thing. It's like you're paying me to give you these takes, so these people are hiring me at these magazines and these media outlets. I need to be always right, and it's just like, you know, it's like that one guy. I don't want to name any names, but like when the capital raid was happening, and that guy was just like, well, if this were for real, then they'd be writing laws in the right now, like making their own laws and declaring their own country. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it's clearly like I have to seem like this all makes sense to me and I've got the answer for this. Like, relax, dude. Just like, you know, soak it in a little. Think about it.
If I'm thinking of the correct person, if I'm thinking of the correct person of who you didn't want to name, if I'm correct in who I'm assuming, then I can't think of a single person who we've needed to do that more with of referencing a retarded. We can cut this if we want, but referencing a fucking retarded take that we see on Twitter and then going, look, I don't want to get into any problems, so I won't say who it is, but this absolute fucking baby brain take, and then just not wanting to fucking mention the person by name, which I totally, I guess I just ruined by mentioning that, but yeah, a lot of fucking stupid takes coming from that particular source.
That was the stupidest take, though, because it was like the belief that the levers of power that operate this country are physical levers that are housed.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
They gained access to the control room, and that dementia-ridden grandma who loves Donald Trump is going to start coming up with a list of pork to add to all their bills.
Right.
Yeah, it's like they could just shut off the CIA brainwashing ray right in there.
Yeah. They can't just be like, damn, this is kind of crazy. I didn't think this would happen. They can't just say that. They can't just admit that they don't know. And then, you know, I mean, there's moments of it when like Brexit happens or Trump wins and they're just completely thrown off, right? Like there's moments of that. So it's like a nice break, but they never own up to it. They're just like, oh yeah, well, whoops, like everybody was wrong. You know, we thought they were WMD. Sorry. You know what I mean? Just
Russian hacking.
Right.
Russian hacking. Sorry. That's basically what they're doing with this Amazon unionization vote too. First of all, these workers are stupid fucking idiots. So write that down. And also, Amazon rigged it somehow, probably with the aid of Vladimir Putin. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, the people that want to be the vanguard of the left thinks like the workers are retarded.
That's a beautiful take when you read that on Twitter and people are like, have you ever been to Alabama? It's like, well, yes, I fucking have.
Like, yeah, somehow I grew up in it. I'm smart.
If you think there's some kind of subspecies because they live in the South, especially when you're talking about a workforce that's 85% black, we're kind of getting into some really dark territory there.
Yeah.
Dude, I give these motherfuckers like 2 years tops before they start mainstreaming like eugenics against their fucking political rival.
That fucking Jamal Bowman post is terrifying of the like different like species of animals and the like the testing requirements.
Oh,
do you
the standardized testing one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is go ahead.
So it was a comic, and it showed all of these different animals: an elephant, a monkey, a penguin, some other bullshit, a lion maybe. And it was like, all right, this is the test. You have to climb a tree, and you will be graded on this. So what this comic suggested is that different races of human beings are actually different species with different capabilities. And that perhaps was the most offensive thing I'd ever fucking seen on the internet.
Well, that's just tricknology, right? That's just like this is going back to this is OG Fed Post vault right here. This is one of our predictions is the mainstreamification of hotepery, right?
Speak on it, hopefully.
yeah. With any luck, I mean, I'm clinging to my fucking kufi so that I don't get liquid.
if you can see it.
Bowman. All right. Let's see here.
Wait, what's the quote say? I can't read it.
Yeah, this is tiny.
Oh, sorry. Our education
selection.
Yeah. Oh, for fair selection, everybody has to take the same what exam? Please climb that tree. And he's talking to like animals of different species.
Oh my god, man! I can't take this shit anymore.
Misjudged that one.
So black people can't do math, I guess, or be on time, and that's apparently woke. Like, because being on time, punctuality is a like white supremacist value or something. I'm just like, what the fuck? This is so infantilizing to like black people. Like,
I'm honorable. I'm an honorable POC because I'm never on time for anything.
This is very personal to me because this is very personal to me because what it suggests is that I'm bad at my job and engineer because I'm half Native American, when in reality it's because I'm very lazy. I'll never take that.
Yeah, this cartoon could be Stone Toss. Is this Stone Toss or Jamal Brown, Bowman or whatever? But yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, the other thing I was gonna ask you guys about was the Janice thing, like the Janice mindset, and this. We were debating this thing before of well, I guess this is just pervasive everywhere of these people that jump up to defend these ideologies or these tastemakers or these things. Like they go out of their way to do the work of like being the white blood cell, but they don't, for nothing in exchange, really, just to do it. And and basically, if you think of like, we're trying to debate the whole PMC elite separation thing of like how together are they, because in my mind, I think there is a clear separation. That the left
PMC are temporarily embarrassed elites, like that's what they think of themselves as.
Right. But they're the Jannies, they're the mods, they're the ones who are the custodials. That's who they are. They don't have any real power.
Well, they don't have any excellence, so they have no self-esteem. So they have to like try to make themselves appear like morally infallible, and that's how they get their esteem. You know.
Right.
And it's creepy because they are like hall monitors in the worst way. Like all those people like being narcs after the Capitol riot, like they were basically working for the FBI for free and then calling themselves like revolutionaries. And I was like, you guys are all free psychos.
Yeah. And that woman doxing people on TikTok who got doxed, like, just doing.
But I also like, sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Like, I also feel like there's an important distinction to make that like not everybody who like sounds like a Fed or like seems like they are promoting like race hatred or resentment is probably like on the CIA's payroll. Like this whole like culture, it's almost like you're incentivized to like do this, and it's like they're normal people almost like. That are just swept up in this vortex of it.
It's just like a self-affirming cycle of just like retarded ideology. Like most people you see online, like no name isn't a fucking Fed. That bitch is just retarded.
Yeah,
she's
retarded.
This broad is like 22 years old. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like straight up.
Like she's just dude, oh my fucking God, dude. If I had like over 1 million fucking followers on Twitter, I don't know how many, I don't really give a shit how many followers. If I had a big fucking platform when I was 22 years old of people looking at me for political insights, I would like probably be a fucking like Nazi right now or something, right?
Yeah,
like, I don't know. I would have fucking dug myself into a hole that I would never have been able to get myself out of. Like I would have ruined my fucking life. Right. Yeah, come on. I think that also just like this all of these fucking dumbasses that like go to the mat for like anything in between like public servants, elected politicians, or CEOs or whatever, just like people that just go to the mat for these public figures. I think I think that has everything to do with the alienation we were talking about earlier.
Well, yeah,
right?
and the fact that AOC has big naturals, and everybody is just so horny and lonely, and it's basically like K-pop stans, but they're like being fed her bullshit too.
AOC fan cam of her.
Dude, I love
crying.
I love the fucking shit that I got for my fucking post about fucking the obvious fact that AOC has her own little fucking platoon of like that's not the right word for it. Yeah, her own little fucking army of incels, which is patently obvious, right? But it's definitely going to dissuade it's definitely going to convince me to rethink my stance on that, to have a bunch of fucking sex deprived male fucking leftoids jump into my fucking replies and just screech at me. That's definitely not proving me right, you deranged fucking lunatics.
Did you feel validated?
I mean, yeah, I don't fucking know, man. I felt, yeah, you feel validated. It also just like makes me feel ashamed that I'm like actually just doing social media. You know what I mean? It's just like, I really should not be doing this at all. But yeah, no, I mean, they can't fucking help themselves.
Yeah. I mean, when I wasn't having sex, I was a hardcore rad-lib. And then when I got with my girlfriend, I wasn't. So, I mean, I'm sure that's coincidence, but yeah, it's just my own anecdotal experience about that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. These people, yeah, they're definitely.
I'll say I think that it very rarely gets talked about in that serious of a way, but like, no, dude, like
I'm half joking, but yeah.
Well, no, for real, like, dude, like you're like dating, you're trying to like meet people or whatever, like. Come on, dude. Yeah, like I'll agree to some fucking stupid ass political shit that I don't actually fucking agree with.
Because there's girl?
Like,
sure.
Yeah, are you fucking kidding me? Easy, dude.
Okay. Nicole, question. Come on now.
I'll be talking with dudes on Tinder talking about I'm a demisexual. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like it's real.
Yeah, no, dude. There are plenty of girls in the 206 area code that think that I have the fucking politics of no name.
Gmork, you did good work, Gmork. Excellent.
Oh my god.
No one.
But that's one thing I've been worried about, wondering about rather. So I understand if you're trying to just like get laid or like have a one night stand, and that's fine if the bitch is kind of dumb. But like if you're trying to have a relationship with someone, like wouldn't you want to have shared values? Well, it's certainly not ideal, and it's certainly like not someone like really like thinking in the long term. But like you know, we talk about it again. It's one of these things where like it's funny to just like kind of be like chuckle fucks about it or whatever. But like the idea, what I said on the AOC post, right? Like there are a lot of dudes, right? A lot of people in my own friend group, right? That like are, you know, probably too late for them. Probably are never going to date anyone ever. And like that's no, don't say that.
Whoa, I think, dude, that's a real fucking thing. And like and like I think that I would honestly even say that for a lot of people, like if you need to fucking performatively like lie about being a lib just so that you can potentially like have a fucking life partner and someone to like join your finances together, maybe buy a house, maybe fucking like build something meaningful with. I think that that's a reasonable fucking hit. Is it
like maybe try to sincerely change your beliefs to that system if that's what you're going for? I don't think you should build anything on lies to begin with, obviously, but like
Nicoke is very much so underestimating this power inside of the male psyche. What you don't know is every day I go to Home Depot and I hire day laborers to assemble furniture, build things, and fix cars, and I let them go. And she believes all of this is true. I've been faking it the whole time.
Yeah, my girlfriend thinks I care about like the underclass and all this weird shit. It's mad funny. It's hilarious.
So, you're telling me you've been faking being handy this whole time?
Yes, unfortunately.
Very based.
It's actually Manuel in front of Lowe's who's been doing all those things.
Oh my god!
Bugman version of the housewife that brings the cake from the store and takes the label off, and it's
exactly.
Oh no! But I mean, like, Gmork, you were talking about kind of like years before we met, like how if you were briefly on internet dating, like just how lonely even the females seem. So what's preventing the male incels and the femcells from getting together?
I mean, the fact that they're fat and ugly, let's be honest.
Just like
I think this is
capitalism, etc.
Well, people have insane standards. Yeah, they think that they're gonna date like a super hot celeb and they're gonna be a millionaire. So anything below that is, well, it's not. I deserve better than that, even though they don't. So I think there's a lot to do with that.
Yeah, there's something that I really loved on the internet, and that was, I don't recall his name, but he was some conservative pundit wrote an article about how bisexuality and queer identity Zoomers incels. And a Zoomer made a retort to this and said, that's actually not why we're incels. We're incels because all of our potential partners are fat, have bad social skills, are broke. And everyone was upvoting this and, agreeing on Twitter. They're like, oh yeah, that's exactly right. It's like, you just revealed the entire goddamn problem with your generation. You fucking played yourself. The problem is you're not escaping the sedentary lifestyle that has trapped you. You become the disgusting Bugman.
Zoomers posting L's.
Yeah, exactly. Zoomers posting L's online.
I mean, like, I'm gonna, I want to qualify what I'm about to say, which is going to be the extremely practical approach or whatever. But like, I'll just say it, right? Like, the overly idealized approach to romance and relationships or whatever, like, results in so many fucking people just being completely fucking miserable, right? Yeah. I consider myself incredibly fortunate because I have someone who's like a partner in life with me, and I love her very much, and I'm attracted to her, and all of these things, right? But I think we all have known, or maybe we haven't all known, but like, I've known plenty of friends, right, where like, like you're hanging out, and you're like, oh, we gotta get you set up with somebody, right? And everybody is surrounding them, and they're not doing them any fucking favors because they're conceiving of it as the fucking like Love Actually meet cute kind of thing, as opposed to like, no, man, like you want someone who's going to be like an actual, if you're fucking 300 fucking pounds, like you're not going to get the fucking 9 out of 10. Right. But like, your life is going to be better with like someone in your corner with you for this ride. Right. And so just like getting something going that works, like literally, I'm building up to just saying like the West would benefit greatly from just like doing arranged marriages or something. Right. Like that's what these fucking sickos need. Because like, again, it's just like, okay, like home ownership. That's probably the most likely way most of us are going to get it. Right. Like being able to fucking build any kind of like social unit, like a family or something. Like you're going to need this shit. Right. And waiting for life to just sweep you up. I mean, especially when we're not even allowed to fucking leave our goddamn homes now.
No.
People forget that like relationships of any kind take initiative, like, yes, and like take like actually like working together to build something and make something happen and work. And it's like not just about just stumbling into something that just all of a sudden works great.
And
it's
you're
not
like,
perfect.
It's never
underlying
perfect.
Risk aversion 12 times. That
exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. But that kind of is like shown in like the polycule bullshit that's going on. Like all these people,
these
like
fucking slugs.
One of my good like friends, like she told me she was dating this guy who said he was solo poly, And that meant that
he's the only poly person in the relationship.
No, he like basically said like, I want to fuck around with other people, in other words. And then he said, but I value the relationship I have with myself more than the relationship I have with others. And so I feel like, okay, that's not a relationship, because a relationship is when you're building things. And I feel like a lot of people, like a lot of younger people, are just so focused on self-love and self-care. And they, even in friendships, they don't want to be inconvenienced to be there for people when it's inconvenient to them. And it's like, okay,
Nicoke just revealed the yoke around my neck. She said a relationship is when you're building things. There you go. That's
yeah, I haven't built stuff for me all the time. Whatever. Like, nice. I do stuff for you too. It's just not physical labor.
We're going to destroy your relationship in one episode.
But like, it's totally like, I feel like that is just proving like the problem is that these people, like, they put themselves first in every situation. Like they are like, oh, I can't go to dinner tonight. I need to have some self-care and have sushi in my bathtub and masturbate for 2 hours. You know, it's just like, dude, get over your fucking self. Like, you're not going to have good people around you if you're like that.
It's like a commodification, like moving onto the marketplace of just like being a fucking human and being there for other people. It's like now it's like something that you trade like it's a commodity or value with your friends rather than just performing actual friendship.
Yeah, it's
scary. It puts you in a vulnerable. It's scary. It puts you in a vulnerable position.
Yeah.
And
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's just and it's also tied to the money thing of everybody thinking that they're about to get rich, and that's why, you know, they don't want to do anything collectivist or, you know, or they're like, I'm chasing my own bag. That's all I care about is my bag, me, you know, fuck these other people. These other people are losers. They're lazy. They're unlucky. I'm going to win. And I don't want to do anything collective that might help other people, that might help myself as well. I'm not down to do anything like that because I'm going to succeed better than them. And then they don't. And then everything's stacked against you. And there's only a small club of people that get through that, and you're probably not in it.
And none of them are the libertarians talking like that, wearing the fedoras.
What you're talking about is it's Randian metaethics is what you're describing. That is what the ideology of the elites. That is exactly what they have. Objectivism.
Right. Yeah, what is it? Fucking Tinder is just Atlas Shrugged realized fucking dating scene.
It really is. Like, it's terrifying. Like how people basically rate other people and like be like, oh, well, you know, just like I've never used internet dating and it just sounds hellish. Like
it's bad. It's bad.
John Galt is actually 5'8".
Right, he's John Galt's the answer to who is John Galt is he's a little manlet. We need all the chads. We need all the chads and the super hot women on all these dating sites to go on strike, and then all the blobs will probably just toil and die, and then that's how we'll cultivate the ultimate society. Clearly, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just it's. I think that just like consumer culture has also just kind of like cultivated it kind of similar to like how people talk about like beauty standards and things like that, just on every level. Like the standards of just like people is just like unbelievable. And you had mentioned like a minute ago, CRK, like it's not perfect, right? And it's just like one of these really obvious things that you hear all the time, but it's like repeated for a good reason, right? Because like I even know from, you know, my personal experience, like you watch enough fucking movies that make it seem like, you know, people are just perfect Lego pieces that just snap in. Literally nothing's ever going to feel correct, right? And you have a whole generation of people whose parents probably got fucking divorced, and they, you know, I'm too impatient to cook up instant ramen on my stovetop, so I'll just have someone bring me my food instead.
So what you're saying, SLAV, is that? So what you're saying is that people are mega blocks. I'm getting you.
Yeah, it's just nothing will be up to anyone's fucking standards.
It's not even just the media; it's the consumer thing. It's just like every time you're buying something, it's like, all right, well, this next version is slightly closer to perfect.
No, exactly.
And why would you settle for this inferior product? Why would you settle for this inferior life? You can make your entire life perfect if you get these set of things. So everybody's chasing that, and even if you're not, deliberately, they've hardwired everyone's brains to work that way, and it's the whole compulsive addictive thing about the whole thing.
They're using like consumerism is like going into these relationships where they are seeing all these things they consume as a reflection of themselves and their identity.
Exactly.
So of course their partner is a reflection of themselves. So that's why it's so creepy and weird how all these like fucking millionaire people telling like white people that they're like evil and shit all have white boyfriends.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what sexual pathology is going on? Like, I don't want to fucking know. First of all, you're a millionaire telling people to like eat shit, and
that's the real master slave dialectic going on right there in the bedroom.
Oh my god, that Sarah Rao or whatever the hell her name is. Like, God, I can't stand it.
Right, yeah. No, that's a great point. Like, people really do tie their self-esteem to it. Like, if their stuff is not the best, then they're like, damn, I must suck, I'm miserable, and they just put themselves in a hole. It's like, why are you doing that? Like, why do you have that tethered to that? That doesn't make any sense.
Retail therapy, bro.
Right. Stress shopping and all that. But what was the Sarah Rao thing? What was she doing recently? She said something like
race to dinner.
Oh, the dinners she teaches, right?
Yeah, where it's like $1,000 to like have her tell all these like white ladies that they're like terrible people, and they probably are terrible people if they're like cucked enough to like pay her that money. Like they're probably narcissists anyway. To like, oh, it's about me, I'm so terrible. Like flog me, It's just like God.
If I wanted to pay too much money to get henpecked during the whole dinner, I just have dinner with my friggin' wife.
The world needs Rodney Dangerfield right now.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking A.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks again, guys. Much appreciated.
Have a good rest of your Sunday.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, we'll do this again sometime.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right.
Take care.